Our first speaker of the day is Mr. Basir Rodney, and he's going to talk to us about harmonizing word and deed, a quality of righteousness. Basir Rodney, sir.
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullah. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika lah. Ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluh. Amma ba'du fa'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. I testify that there is none to be worshipped except Allah, that He is one and has no partner, and that His Prophet, the Holy Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, is His servant and His messenger. First, let me say welcome to the guests of Hazrat Masih Maud and the members of the Jamaat of Hazrat Masih Maud. Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Allah says in the Holy Quran, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu lima ta'kuluna ma la ta'filun kabura maqtan indallahi an taqulu ma la ta'filun. Roughly translated, these verses say, O ye who believe, why do you say what you do not do? It is most hateful in the sight of Allah that you say what you do not do. Today my talk is surrounding the topic harmonizing word and deed, a quality of the righteous. In these two short verses, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has established for us that indeed those who believe are not like those who say something and they don't do it. They are not like those who have lofty ideals and lofty goals, but they are not striving after them, that they're not striving to attain them. So in that sense, harmonizing word and deed is in fact a quality of the righteous. In a single word, we can describe this act or desire to harmonize word and deed as integrity. You know, for those of you who are sitting over there, if I had said to you, or on your way in the door we said, don't use the chairs because some of them are feeble and will break with you, you'd be very reluctant to sit over there. Why? Because you would doubt the integrity of the chairs. You doubt the integrity of the materials that make up the stool or the chair upon which you're sitting. And so this is where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that when we understand the quality of something, that we strive to maintain that quality. Integrity is about quality. The eternal struggle of the righteous is to strive to practice what we preach. We work actively to synchronize our heart, our minds, our words and our deeds, because we do not want to be of those that the Holy Quran says, "Lama taquluna ma la tafalun." That is, we say something and we do not do it. Practicing what one preaches is indeed a quality of the righteous. It is rooted in what Hazrat Masih Maud described in the philosophy of the teachings of Islam. Integrity, one of the core qualities of the human being. Hazrat Masih Maud gave an example. He said integrity is innate in a baby. When you take a baby from its suckling mother and try to give it over to a different mother, the baby will cry and will refuse to drink that milk. He says this quality is indeed a quality of integrity, where even to the harm of the child, it will not want to drink that milk. He said no one can be credited with the quality of integrity unless his heart becomes charged with dislike and hatred of the property of another, as is the case with this or an infant. So what are the things that we must dislike that demonstrate that we are in fact working actively to harmonize our word and deed? At a first or most basic level, we have to discard the ways that are dangerous to our faith. We have to discard behaviors that put our faith in danger. We have to discard things that are wasteful in their attributes and are not faith building. These are the ways in which we try to bring our word and deed into harmony. The opposite of integrity, in a sense, is weakness. It's hypocrisy. It's where you are in a state where you're quick to give up yourself, to give up your identity, to give up the thing that you hold dear. I would describe integrity as staying close to your values, especially when no one is watching. So you know what, to bring it down to a real level, there are lots of young people here, lots of children. To be one who is of integrity is to be one who practices what you preach when you're not sure who's looking. When you know deep in your heart that Allah watches you and watches what you are doing. As modern people, people living what we call the 21st century, sometimes we're faced with this question: how do I bring my own words and deeds into alignment? How do I attain or maintain my Islamic integrity? How do I avoid hypocrisy? Since we agree that integrity, with Hazrat Masih Maud, that integrity is a natural attribute of human beings, practicing what one preaches is valued in all walks of life. It's actually valued in all cultures, right? And we have many, many examples where to practice what you preach is demonstrated in various cultures. You know, when you read some of the ancient texts, Plato in the Republic says that a just man is always a happy man. The man that practices what he preaches is always happier than the man who does not. In Shakespeare's Hamlet, one of his characters quotes this phrase: "To thine own self be true, and as the night follows the day, you cannot be false to any man." So this is a quality that is integrity, that is practicing what you preach, that is upheld in all societies. We value it very highly. However, in the Holy Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala attaches this to his own divine wrath, if you will. He says, "It is hateful in my eyes when you say something that you don't do." And especially for those who are believers, we flee from that, where we say something and we do not do it. And the Holy Quran gives some examples. It says that the believers are those who practice speaking a straightforward word. And those of us, we know the Arabic, it is kulu kaulan sadidan, to say a word that is plain. Don't speak in double speak, don't be ambiguous, right? That is one of the first ways in which we begin to line up our actions with our intentions. Speak a plain word. The book also says that we should say what we mean. It says that believers should speak a gentle word, kulu kaulan lainan. That is, we should speak a gentle word. When we speak the truth, we should always try to exhort with patience and with the appropriate attributes. Do not try to force anything on anyone. The book also says, Al-Quran, to avoid doing things for outward show, without the inner spirit. It says that such a person is alladhina hum ra'un. You say something and you don't do it. That we must remember at all times that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala judges what is in our minds, what is in our thoughts, and what is in our intentions. Allah is well aware, He is Alim, well aware of the things that we do. Even in the Injil, the Gospels of Hazrat Isa alayhi salam, he gives an example. He's very clear in this. He says, the teachers of the law and the Pharisees sit in Moses' seat. So you must be careful that you do what they tell you to do. Follow the law. But he goes further. He says, but do not do what they do, because they do not practice what they preach. They're hypocrites. So for those of us who are seeking to build faith, to build righteousness, to be of those who are in the community of Hazrat Masih Maud, we must therefore practice what we preach. When we look at our wider society, we are very careful. We have phrases to describe people who don't practice what they preach. We call them fakes. We say that person's a fake. We say they don't keep it real. These are the things that we say. So we do not want to be of those who are known to not keep it real. That when you are in front of the friends and the family, you act one way, but when you are behind them or when you think they are not watching, you act a different way. In the traditions of the Holy Prophet Muhammad, we see that there is clarity in those who are practicing what they preach. This was what his companions was like. And we see that the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is built on truth. One of the proofs of the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu himself was that Allah says in Quran, you were among them for a lifetime and you did not practice telling lies. In fact, what did they say of the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu? They said, you are al-amin, you are the most trustworthy among us. This was his integrity. So when he was called to prophethood, and they tried to say, well, no, the Meccans said you're lying. We don't believe you that you have been given this book. And we don't believe you that you come from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The Holy Quran said, but he was with you a lifetime. And he had never lied about you. He had never lied to you. So why all of a sudden would he lie about Allah? So we see that that truth, that integrity is a hallmark of prophethood as well. So by that virtue, in that sense, it is also, by virtue of that, it is connected to our own righteousness. If the prophets are righteous believers, righteous practitioners of what they preach, we as those who claim to follow them must also practice what we preach. On one occasion, the Holy Prophet Muhammad was asked, who is a hypocrite? How do we know when someone is practicing hypocrisy? And the Holy Prophet Muhammad said, there are 3 signs of the hypocrite. This is recorded in Bukhari and in Tirmidhi. He says, when he speaks, when the hypocrite speaks, he lies. And when he makes a promise, he breaks it. And when he is given a trust, he betrays it. So this is the depth of understanding of practicing what one preaches. Do not fall into any one of these categories. This is what we're trying to move away from. And since we are of those who practice the tradition of the Holy Prophet Muhammad, we should not fall into any of these boxes. We cannot be of those people. As we are striving on this pathway, we sometimes find that it is difficult. And we understand the challenges, right? We have to be very mindful that we live in a society that even though truth is valued and integrity is valued, people still say things like, you know, well, it's only a little white lie. It's just a fib. You know, nobody got hurt when I said it, right? You know, it's no big deal. On Sunday evening when some of us go home, we're going to get the call from, you know, the bill collector, because nowadays they call every time, right? They're no respecter of persons. And when that call comes, sometimes people are tempted. I just got home from the Jalsa Salana. I'm a little tired. I'd rather go and rest. So what do I do? Do I tell my child, oh son, just tell him I'm not home. Oh daughter, don't worry, just tell him I'm not home. But we're there. So we can't use that so-called white lie, that so-called fib. Why? Because we are people of Hazrat Masih Maud. So we have to practice truth in our ways. We must not allow anywhere in the world for people to say about the Ahmadiyya Muslim community or the Ahmadis that we are not practitioners of what we preach. This must be our hallmark. Sometimes, you know, the kuffar, the unbelievers, level a criticism against Islam. They say that Muslims, you know, they live in your society, but really, they don't accept what you accept. They believe that they can lie to the kafir. They can tell lies to the people who are not of them. That they don't have to speak the truth to us because we don't believe what they believe. And this is what, when you move around in social media, when you move out in the community, people believe that. They say, yes, you Muslims, you say assalamu alaikum to each other, but you don't say the same thing to us. You have a different greeting for us. You lack integrity because you say that you're of peace, but you practice something else. This is not our way. And certainly this is not the truth. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us in Quran, say a straightforward word. Keep your trust. Safeguard those things that you have been given strength over. Your children, your families, your offices. Especially those of us who represent the Jamaat Ahmadiyya. We have to be mindful that people are watching, our children are watching. So just because, you know, the president of the Jamaat doesn't know about it, that doesn't mean that we should slide it under the door. Our children are seeing us. our families, our wives, they're seeing us. So we have to always be those who are of the truthful. When we're on the playing field and on the ball field, sometimes as young people, you know, at Fall and Kudam, we get very excited and we're with our friends. And you know, depending on the friends that you might be with, sometimes in the joy of the game, somebody might swear. And we're tempted to be one of the boys, to feel like, well, you know, I can say that because nobody at the mosque is here. We reject that. This is not our way. Similarly, you know, some of us who work out in the world, we go to the office party and they're passing the drinks around. And they say, oh, it's not going to hurt you. A little bit won't hurt. You know, it's actually good for you. You know, the research says that, you know, the wine is good for the heart. And you say, well, it's not going to hurt anybody. Nobody's here. We reject that. Because since we are those who practice what we preach, we cannot fall into those traps. And that is what they are. They are traps designed to destroy your faith. This is the shaitan coming before you to say, oh, be one of the people, be one of the boys. Show them that we are really, you know, loving and kind Muslims and that we're not extremists in any way. And that is not the way we should be. We hold to our values. We have the integrity. People know that in the dead of the night, the Muslim, the Ahmadi, is a certain way. And in the waking of the daylight hours, the Ahmadi, the Muslim, is a certain way. So we must be like that. We belong to a community that has striven over the last 100 years to demonstrate its integrity. We have shown through our various campaigns for peace, our various campaigns for interfaith harmony from the time of Hazrat Masih Maud till now, that we are of those who uphold Islamic values, that we commit our lives to Islam. Here we are on a Saturday morning in July. Yesterday there were record temperatures. And where were we? Here. Some of us in the sun working, directing traffic, standing guard, showing each other the love that Hazrat Masih Maud says that we should be like brothers from the same mother. This is what integrity is. This is what integrity looks like. These are a people who are practicing what they preach. This is what is remarkable about the community of Hazrat Masih Maud. This is what brings so many people, Allahu Akbar. This is what brings so many people to this community. This is what impresses them. Last year, the PBS did a documentary on us. And when they did the documentary, there's a small segment. And a big Islamic scholar at Georgetown University, John Esposito, said, these people, they have influence beyond their size. That is what he said. That they may look small, but they have influenced all of the echelons of this society with what? With their truth. Not with any falsehood, not with any duplicity, but with the reality that Hazrat Masih Maud is true, that Islam is true, and that the message that we have to carry forward will last for all time. This is what we are committed to. This is what we carry on our backs. This is what we carry on our faces. This is what we must leave with our children going forward. Jai. Jai. Zindabad. Zindabad. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Zindabad. Zindabad. You know, I close by saying that Hazrat Khalifatul Masih al-Khamis has reminded us that this is the truth that we practice and believe that should stand up in the world.
বলছেন এই সেই সত্য যা আমাদের প্র্যাকটিস করতে হবে যে পৃথিবীতে আজ যে সমস্ত অস্ত্র শস্ত্র ব্যবহৃত হচ্ছে এগুলো হচ্ছে জাগতিক অস্ত্র শস্ত্র আর আমরা যে অস্ত্র ব্যবহার করব তা হচ্ছে সত্যের অস্ত্র এবং এই সত্যের অস্ত্র আমাদেরকে আমাদের সন্তানদের হাতে তুলে দিতে হবে অর্থাৎ আমাদের সন্তানরা যেন যে কোনো মূল্যে সত্যের অস্ত্র ধারণ করে হযরত আকদাস মসিহ মাউদ আলাইহিস সালাতু ওয়াস সালাম এর প্রতি ইলহাম হয়েছিল যে ইসলাম এবং আহমদিয়াতের বাণী বিশ্বের সর্বত্র ছড়িয়ে পড়বে আল্লাহ তাআলা আমাদের সবাইকে তৌফিক দিন আমরা যেন ইসলাম